Guru Nation, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, share. Did an interesting podcast live stream this morning with Darshan Kulkarni, and at the same time, someone was messaging me on LinkedIn about a site that a relative of theirs used to have, and it failed because they didn't invest in systems and they were just trying to do everything themselves, try to maximize profit. And you can't build a scalable site without building systems. And I'm going to do a video, I'm working on a video right now, top 10 books I personally recommend for clinical research site owners. And one of them is the E-Myth Revisited. It talks about working on your business, not just in your business. So when you have a startup site, you are doing both. At least you should be doing both. You should be working in your business, meaning you might be the coordinator, you might be the person doing recruitment, you might be the person reaching out to PIs, you might be everything, right? Eventually you start hiring staff. You should be building systems, so it's not dependent on just one person. Because what happens if you're sick, or what happens if you go through some crisis where you can't be at the site? Does the operations just stop? Not to mention, right now we're in an environment where sites are getting acquired. You're increasing your potential sales price if you have systems in place. No one wants to buy a clinic that doesn't work without the owner. So imagine being that buyer and saying, hey, I'm going to buy this site, but the owner does everything. Oh, okay, so now I'll be the owner. They're still going to do everything, right? It doesn't make sense. We have to work on our business as well. That means building systems. What's the QA system? Quality assurance system. How do you check that you're following the protocols according to GCP, according to protocol, according to your SOPs? That's a system. Quality assurance. There's another system. How do we make sure we're getting patient referrals? How do we make sure we're responding to leads? What's the process for getting patients scheduled? That's a system. We have another one for consents. That's a system. We have another one for labs. How do we process labs? How do we get the dry ice? Who's the CLIA? Who's responsible for CLIA renewals? Who's responsible for IATA training for new staff? That's a system. I mean, you have systems for everything in your site. Investigational product, that's a system. Getting studies, that's a system. Getting PIs, that's a system. Marketing, everything you can imagine is a system. And in the E-Myth, the author talks about, Gerber is his name, he talks about McDonald's and how if you want to go buy a McDonald's franchise today, you are getting systems. You're buying systems. And the original founders of McDonald's, when they scaled it, they built those systems. Now, those systems change over time as technologies evolve, which your site should do as well. But you're not in the burger business. McDonald's is actually in the selling systems business. The franchisee is in the burger business, and if he or she is a good franchisee, he or she follows those systems to where if they want to, and only if they want to, the owner will put themselves in one of those systems, right? And there's nothing wrong with doing that. But the point is to have systems in place. A lot of site owners are very hand to mouth. What they catch is what they eat. And when they do hire staff, it's just to help with the overflow work. It's not really to work in a system. The system in a lot of these sites depends on one person, sometimes one or two people. In my opinion, and luckily for me, I read the E-Myth like in 2005 when I first started my site. I understood this concept really early on. And this is why I'm always focused on building systems. And sometimes I myself am part of the system until I'm ready to replace myself with someone else. But if you have systems in place that are followable, scalable, simple enough to plug people in, you have a training system in place to onboard, the business does not need to depend on yourself. Matter of fact, in the E-Myth, the author talks about if you build the proper system for your startup or your business, you, the owner, you can leave for a year. The business should at least be the same as when you left, if not even better. Because if you have a good system in place, it reinforces proper compliance and it incentivizes improvements, incremental improvements into the system. It's tough. Yuma Clinical Trials, where I'm driving to right now, we have systems in place. I'm still a big part of a lot of the systems, but less so. Like every year, a little bit less. Right now, like the first year, I was the one doing patient visits. Today, I'm almost doing 0 patient visits. We have coordinators in place, and we've built a system. We've built a QA system. A year ago, I was the QA system. Today, I'm just managing the QA system. We have QAs in place, CRA Academy interns. The best ones from our academy get invited to do this QA internship, as well as a lead CRC who's in charge of the QAs, and then I'm more overseeing that. I'm still in the system of finding new investigators. I haven't outsourced that yet. I haven't built a system for that yet. I'm building a system. This is how I go about doing it, but I haven't outsourced that part yet. I'm still heavily involved in that. The marketing for building our site's brand, I'm involved in that system because it involves interviewing business owners and posting them on Instagram and YouTube. I don't do all the interviews, so I'm halfway out of that system. But sometimes I want to do the interview. I think it'll be an interesting one, so I do it. But I'm still the one uploading everything. We have people editing them. Thankfully, I don't have to do that. But I'm still the one responding to the direct messages. But that's a system that I feel I enjoy doing, and I feel like I am currently building a system to where we can plug someone in. Business development. I've started giving that responsibility to some of the other coordinators. I'm maybe still involved in 80% of that because I think for a growing startup it's still important, but that doesn't mean that I'm not working on a way to remove myself from that process. I'm already not going to be at our next site selection visit. So guess what I'm doing? I'm building a system. How do we handle a site selection visit? It's already in our SOP, but this is an even more practical system that the staff is going to follow. This is what you do. This is how you greet them. As detailed as you can. So it's separate from your SOP because you remember your SOP is auditable and your systems are more for internal documents for training staff, onboarding staff, measuring compliance. You could refer to it in your SOP, but who knows, that's probably auditable too. But for the most part, the FDA, when they come in to audit or a sponsor, they won't ask for other manuals. They'll ask for your SOP. Now, if you cross-reference them in your SOP, they can ask for that too. So that's where you gotta maybe get an attorney in place like Sean and ask them how you should do that. But as far as I'm concerned, for the purpose of this video, it's building a business to where you can have freedom and your business is still working well. I'm gonna make this video top 10 books thanks to Chris for giving me the idea. I'm still thinking through a few of them, but this book's definitely going to be on it. Like, subscribe, comment, share. Remember, figure out a way to work on your business, not just in your business. Bye-bye.